because some documents the enemy put forward signatures on, and some of them they just put an X there.
Yes,
And
yes,
then they
yes,
claim that somebody signed it. When
yes.
they used to put the X there, they put the X there to show you where to sign. If there's a signature behind the X, it's telling you who was stealing the land from your people.
Okay, okay, okay. And I ran into that
Yeah.
with each account. I found a family member, but I also found a similar name to that family member in that town.
Yeah. So when the Dirty Moors move in and they know the prominent chief of the village, they'll come in and use a name that sound the same but spelt slightly different,
Yes,
or they'll
yes,
use a
yes.
name that mean the same. So they're using synonyms and homonyms in
I
order
seen that.
to usurp the one who is the actual chief of the local area. So
Okay,
when they children get a hold of it, your ancestor and their ancestor look like the same person on paper, but they not.
okay,
One of
okay.
them a usurper.
And I've seen that where I get to a point where I'm following. I guess I would say a European. I've traced my family back to Scotland, but I know there in North Carolina there was a switch.
Okay, the Scots and the Irish have a contract through the daughters of Isis, known as Scotta and Scotia.
Uh-huh.
Both
Switzerland.
right now, the Orisha, known as Montbrige, that's Scotta. Her sister Scotia, she looks different. She look melanated. She is melanated, but Montbrige is pale face, milky color, with red hair.
Okay.
This is why they call Ireland the redhead stepchild of Europe. They talking about the people they call the ginger, who was
Okay.
given the okay. So when they was fleeing the persecution that brought about the potato famine, they got a charter from our big mama to settle in the Appalachians. As long as they was not belligerent to the local tribe, they can set up their own tribal community. Today we call
Hillbillies and such.
yes.
Okay. Like the what's the family name the with the show? Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in that show, if you see old Jed was shooting at a rabbit and up came an oil spout. That's how they got rich.
Was that on the western side of the Appalachian or the eastern side?
No, they don't say. But in the Beverly Hillbillies, when it's coming on, it's giving you showing you how they got rich.
Okay. Yes, yes, I remember that. He shot the rabbit hole and the oil came up and
right, and they describing it in the song. Right.
okay.
Mere old Uncle Jed, poor mountaineer, rarely had his family fed. Then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground came a bubbling pool. Oil, that is. Black gold, Texas tea. Right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
on the land that Big Mama gave him, somebody discovered oil. They can't take the land from him, so they have to get the rights to trade in the oil, and they have to pay him residuals on harvesting the oil on his land. So if you go through Mississippi now, you see a lot of people that just got pumps in the middle of nowhere, just steady pumping.
Yes.
They're all feeding into a central main line, the oil reserve or the gas reserve from the land. And then they get paid from the government stockpiling it because they're not supposed to trade the reserve and they're only supposed to use it in times of war. But guess what? We've been at war non-stop for 500 years, but we didn't remember it.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I guess because we started to become civilized, we lost the
civilized. We civilizers. Look,
or excuse me, we became a part of the civilization of the usurper. We left the idea of war alone with them.
No, we didn't. We went into a conjure war.
Okay, so it's no longer physical.
Right. So the war went from being a bloody war that saturated the Florida Everglades all the way into the Louisiana territory in the Louisiana Bayou with blood.
Yes.
Due
Yes.
to the massive bloodletting to cause a ceasefire, we had to come up with an alternative means. This is how you get the black versus the white on the chessboard. It's the stealth priests of the totem tribes, the black wolf, the black panther, the black gorilla,
Okay.
the black eagle, the black hawk, the black foot. All these clans are what we know as stealth priests. They represent a different tribe, but they all war priests. These war priests, to stop the bloodletting of mass casualties of human life, challenges each other to a conjure war, a voodoo war, a hoodoo war, high magic, ceremonial magic, magician versus magician, sage versus sorcerer, however you want to look at it, a magic war made in magic warfare. But at the end of the day, somebody had to bring it to the end. Somebody had to say, look, the war over with, this who won. Somebody got to be declared the victor, right? So we already won. I've been telling motherfuckers this for 5 years now. As soon as I realized that all I had to do was exercise the blood in the right within 72 hours after the contract closed, I'm not hesitating. I'm pulling the trigger. I got an itchy fucking trigger finger and I ain't got no problem with blasting the motherfucker in their ass. So when it's time to pull the trigger on the enemy, I will pull that motherfucker so quick. I'm not waiting on no 72 hours. I'm going to give it to you in 48. So on July the 6th, 2019, I called that motherfucker card in by blood and by right. And it's documented, time-stamped in the public domain by the means of social media.
Okay. Now, a question pertaining to that, because it's key that you said that. If we were to write letters to all of these entities and put them on public notice,
that means
like,
you're imbecile.
Say that again.
That means you're an imbecile. Their system is designed that when you begin to explain yourself to them, you become their subject.
But if I tell them I'm not taking part in their...
By telling them you're not taking part in it, is proving to them that you're taking part in it.
Okay.
You have to go back to your own tribal traditions that predated them. The oral traditions just put it in the public domain. When enough tribes people become aware of it, they choose collectively to abandon all of the contracts that's predicated on the fraud, because none of us want to be held as party to the fraud. And the only way to live in the society that's predicated on the fraud is you can't be aware, because when you're aware, you have to abandon the contract. If you refuse, when you become aware, to abandon the contract, you become a party to the fraud, a willing participant. Therefore, you can be prosecuted the same as the motherfucker who brought the fraud to you.
So basically, we just have to let their shit go, period.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Put their IDs down, put their social security cards down.
People, look, fuck them people. Let's go back to putting our family book back together, because every family, the oldest matriarch, kept the records of the births and the deaths in the family book. And this is how we used to know how to trace each other back to our own big mama and get our own inheritance in every lifetime.
Okay.
We got to go back to that and disregard them. Let them motherfuckers fall, because they already failed. We just got to stop holding it up, pretending it's business as usual when it's not. This shit is all the way over. The only thing
yes, I agree. Definitely on that.
The dead contract. They keep trying to send their babies to school. That's the worst thing they can do. I'm getting all of the signs that they finna do something bad to the babies in one of these schools.
And I work in education, right? And I see the decline in the funds. I see the decline in the education, in the effort from the teachers. And I'm here in a black town too, a black city rather, a black metropolis, or India metropolis rather. Let me do away with the word black, because I argue about that every week.
Still tribal. That's still tribal. Look, the black ones was the ones fighting against the white ones on the chessboard. It had nothing to do with skin color. Skin color became the illusion by which they deceived us as to who was who on the chessboard.
I got you. We had a relationship, a working relationship with them.
Yeah. So they were rescued by a group of Templars that we know them today as being Vikings. When they came, they joined with some of what we call the nomadic tribes, the ones who patrolled the land. Today, they ride a steel horse. And
Harleys.
The big
Hell's Angels.
Charter, and they are called Hell's Angels.
Listen, okay. I travel all over the world. I travel into Europe a lot, Eastern Europe mostly, Serbia, Zurich, Switzerland, most of Switzerland. I've seen those statues in Bern, Switzerland, of the Black Moor eating the babies. I've seen those. I can verify those. That's in Bern, Switzerland. The Hell's Angels is the largest motorcycle clan in Europe.
In the world.
In the world, rather. Is that because they hold the charter to do such?
Yes. Hell's Angels, when the shit hit the fan, they riding with the tribes out the gate. They nothing to talk about. They already made allegiances. That's why they here.
But why is there racism among their race?
That's not racism. They're not supposed to let outsiders in. If you're not a Nordic, a Viking, they're not supposed to let you in unless you go through certain shit. When the number one rule when Big Mama allow you on the land is you have to worship. You have to live your life in your own envelope, under your own vine and fig tree. That's how Noble Drew Ali described it. That means that you have to get your family together. You got to have your family council. You have to have a system of elders where the elders can communicate the orders throughout the clan. The Hell's Angels did all of that, right? A lot of these, what we call in gangs is the critical term for the enemy to declare a tribe as a hostile.
A misnomer, yes, I agree. I agree.
That's what today's show about is
Excellent.
what they call us versus what we are. Right? When COINTELPRO came into play, now they can classify the outlaw clans as gangs under the stop the chiefs from waking these motherfuckers up.
I got you. I see what you're saying. I see exactly what you're saying. The another question, since we're on the subject of it, we talk about Larry Hoover, we talk about Jeff Ford, Angel Bay. What about Tupac's father?
Mutulu Shakur?
Mutulu, yes. I know he was just recently released.
He was a general in the Black Liberation Army. He was part of the ones defending the land. I talked about Mutulu before, but I don't talk about him as much because I knew he was sick and I didn't want to draw too much attention to him and let him enjoy his family while he had time with him. But they poisoned him. He didn't die from cancer like they telling them. They fed him poison in prison.
But he still walked the land, correct?
He walked the land. So now Setch don't know it, but either her child or her grandchild gonna be Mutulu come back for every fucking thing they owe it.
Okay. And if we encounter this with Larry Hoover and our brother McBay, the same instance where they come home and they fall ill, all of a sudden.
If we remember who our chiefs was, it's 3 high chiefs on the land that we didn't know who they were. That's Big Tookie, Larry Hoover, Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford was the lawman. He was supposed to tear these motherfuckers' ass from limb to limb, asshole to appetite. That's why they use all of those fabricated means to get him off the land. Because if guys like me, when I was that age, would have figured out what was going on back then, Or
Yeah,
if
yeah,
Angel
yeah.
Baker told me himself what he discovered, it would have been over. I would have been on an organizing mission. It took me years to figure this shit out. My feelings were so hurt when I found out that the motherfucker that was behind this dirt looked like us.
Yep, yep, yep. I say that I agree with you on that because I'm not downgrading Caucasians' intelligence, but I can't give them that much credit to say that they overtook me because there's been instances where I overtook them in a blink of an eye, and it was just simple, like taking kid from a candy from a kid. I always seen it as someone within our ranks that was working against us. And now I see it more once I got the shell pulled off my eyelids. I see more of my people, more and more of our people that look like us doing this dirt to us.
Man, look, go back to Garvey. Niggas did it. Niggas got Garvey excommunicated because he was too effective in our community. Niggas did that shit. Some dirty niggas. It was some dirty niggas that did that shit to Booker T. Washington, to W.E.B. Du Bois. They thought they was fighting each other. This is the crazy part. All the time, it was the people in their ranks pitting them against
that was doing them dirty.
Yeah, and they were the infiltrators. Noble Drew Ali. There's no way the police could have whooped Noble Drew Ali like they did if the Mufti staff didn't move out the way. And back then, we had no regard for the police. We had zero regard for the police back then. Zero. If they came over here, I just as soon as punch him in his mouth as I would anybody else. They had a whole campaign in the 70s to try to give them a different opinion to the children of who these motherfuckers was. Officer Goody Two-Shoe is your friend. Always obey the police. They slave catchers, and the tribesmen was always belligerent to them. Right? They ain't supposed to be saying nothing to us. They don't got nothing to do with us. But guess what? When they turned the whole country into a plantation, now they got to monitor the plantation. That's their job. They plantation monitors. Make you conform to the plantation's desires.
Before the Pope rescinded the doctrine of discovery, he also sent to Obama general civil orders. Is that a valid document?
Obama was an undercover agent of a foreign entity.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Listen,
we can talk about that on another. Yeah, I know.
I gotta say it.
Go ahead. You got to put it in public notice. You're right.
Right. So Obama was sent in to infiltrate America, masquerades as one of the natives to the land. Right. And he was to institute a takeover. He was made in a laboratory by using the DNA from Akhenaten in the early cloning process in the 1950s. He was part of the first wave of Boys from Brazil program in America under Operation Paperclip. And they told you the story in a series of movies, starting with the Demon Seed